Welcome to Through a Glass Darkly Radio. You're listening to us on United Public Radio, and the intro song you heard was Mark of the Doomslayer by Karl at White Bat Audio. Welcome, everyone. This one's going to be a little bit shorter because I need a break from like reading through 30 pages of single space text in the 2-hour period. So we'll skimp a little bit, but before we get started, let's see where we are on the comments. Oracle of Relfi, good to see you, says this should be interesting. I watched Restoration of the Breach. Yaira has a lot of content on this subject. I'll have to look at that. Sirius is saying, oh, wow, a wild stream appeared. Can you guess who the streamer is? Indeed. It's an owl. It's always an owl. Hey, Missing Time 420. Solite UX Expat, good to see you. And that's right. Let's see. Oh, so this is about the Ars Goetia. It is a book of a medieval book or late medieval book of demons. So we're just going to go through all 72, but it'll be brief, I think. And then lots of strange animal behavior at the Hazlett household recently. Very wildly strange. So if you are subscribers to my Substack, which is free, at least the most recent articles are, the archive's not, but who cares? It's called Along the Path Darkly, and I just recount any strange things that have happened. So yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe, I don't know if it's the Lesser Keys of Solomon, surely. The Ars Goetia, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll find out, won't we? All right, so just a few things that I always like to talk about with the audience. So the first is, if you're a long-term time subscriber, you know where I'm going with this, and think you're still subscribed, just double check because YouTube has a vote, and sometimes they unsubscribe people. It's happened many times, many such cases on this channel. So let's see. Yeah, I'll probably, well, we'll see. We'll see if I get it right. We are learning the proper names of demons to summon. Oh, brother. Don't recommend it, though, Roger Claiborne says. At least the stack is along a glass or through. It's along the path darkly. So, actually, I'm such an idiot. Why don't I just make it super simple? It's called Along the Path Darkly. Again, I'm deliberately not promoting it, because it's literally just a list, not a list, but like anytime something I construe as strange happens, or something kind of a synchronicity or whatever, it's like a journal. I just put it on that and just share it with everybody. I don't share everything because sometimes I'll just have, like, I had a weird dream this morning that Jack Black gave me like a giant pretzel thing that had like meat inside it or something. So I have weird dreams like that I don't think are synchronistic or mystical, so I just ignore them. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up. Yes, peculiar things happened on occasion. Today I looked out the window and a orange tabby cat in my yard just trotted by with a rat in her mouth. I don't know why I said her. Maybe it is female. But anyway, cat just trotted by. I'm like, well, that's weird. And then I looked at the time, and it was 3:33. So, just the usual. And then again, I put that out today. What else happened earlier this week? Earlier this week, I looked outside, and a red-tailed hawk immediately landed on a tree, like on the property next door. I was like, oh, that's weird. And then that night, I went outside, pitch black, and I'm walking up my hill, and there's a gray fox. And it sees me, I see it, and then it just kind of runs up the hill to the direction where I'm going, where I burn incense. I go up there, put like the incense match thing down, and I start coming back down the hill, pitch black, and I feel a presence on my left, and I look to my left, and not 3 feet away is the red tail fox. Is the gray fox looking at me from like and I'm like down slope of it. Like, it's superior tactical position for people who have any military experience. And I just kind of looked up, and eye to eye, it was like looking at another person. It was absolutely bizarre. The gray fox was within 3 feet. So you saw the owl in the countdown, right? And for people who are long-term followers of the channel or watching the channel, like, people know I call that owl Marvin, just because, I don't know, it just feels like a Marvin to me. That owl was literally on my fence, and that was a video that I recorded when I walked up to the owl to record him. So for whatever reason, wildlife gets really close to me. I have no idea why, but that fox was 3 feet away, and I think he was surprised that I could see him. And we kind of stared at each other for a while. I wasn't scared. I don't think he was scared. We just kind of both couldn't believe it. And then he abruptly turned around and kind of hopped off in the distance. I could see his big bushy tail. I mean, 100% certain it was a fox. So then the next day I went outside, and again, another red-tailed hawk kind of swooped in low. I waved at it. It kind of noticed, it turned around and then landed on the same tree, and kind of looked down at me as if to acknowledge, and then got back up and flew away. Very weird, very strange. So it's been a strange week, although no owl activity this week for whatever reason. Anyway, I digress. There's people like, where the hell are the demons? Why aren't we talking about demons? Boo, don't double secret unsubscribe YouTube. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't need to. Yummy. Interesting. Missing time 420 says usually it's a female cat that brings in a hunt, because when I said it, I just had a sense it was female. I could be completely wrong. Yeah, or like, some like Saint Francis of Assisi thing. Who knows? Maybe I need to start wearing hair shirts. All right. All right. And now we should get started, because people who have never been here before are like, what the F? Like, how come you're not talking about the Ars Goetia? Okay. So I'm going to get there very quickly. So again, the other usual caveat is, on this channel, the only content that I generate that is AI is on this radio show. The reason I do it, I don't have a ton of time. I have to be efficient because I have like 6 jobs. For instance, one of the things I did today is I do interviews for my publisher. Like, I interview authors and stuff like that. So I do that. That's something else that I never talk about. I also am a course facilitator at Stanford's executive education program. I have a full-time day job. I also work for people who follow the future forecasting group. I do a lot. So I also, this channel is about truth, honesty, the American way. So if you're not into that, this is the only content on the channel that I generate with like written content that I generate with AI. Everything else is just, interviews with people, and everything else I kind of do myself. My own professional writing is 0% AI, no AI whatsoever. But this is the only thing. So if you're against that, totally get it. I'm not passing this off as something that I, worked super hard on and slaved on all night. It's just, I do what I got to do. So with that, this caveat, a bunch of new comments came in. So Roger Claiborne said, squirrels used to eat all my peaches before they could grow, until mom brought home a female cat that would chase them up trees, jump from tree to tree until she caught them. Most cats avoid squirrels. Yeah, they kind of do. Thank you, Sally Forthorn. I appreciate you. Okay, Roger Claiborne said, I hope the cat would get all the squirrels when I first laid eyes on her, and she must have gotten the message. Yep. I hope I'm with the white hats. So Woo Rider DG says Sean is with the White Hats. Yeah, thank you. Oracle of Ralph, I said, you are a talented multi-hyphenate. AI rules. The way is the only way. Yep. So Solite US Expat says, have you recorded the show with Dr. Dean Radin yet about his new book? I have the Kindle version. I skimmed through it. I tried Candle Magic to tell and sell them on you, but I have not. I interview him on December 20th, but I am reading his book right now. I think I'm reading the section on spoon bending. So Ars Theurgia Goetia. Lux E Tenebris 33 says, you're probably right. I'm super ignorant on it. I'm about to learn everything you're about to learn tonight. So I don't know. I don't know if AI could be a good leader of any sorts, but who knows? Maybe better than all the clowns that we put up there. But Fast Mama Jamma is saying AI is really good at writing code. AI could be a good president. Okay. All right, Solite US Expert. I love that show with that magician. The AI worked well for that. Yeah, and by the way, like I just use for that one, like I'll use AI all day long to generate images. Like, don't get me wrong. Like all the like thumbnails and stuff like that is the images are heavy AI. Yeah, everybody does that. But there is a special program called think like HeyGen or something like that, or HeyUGen or something. And what it does is it generates avatars that you can feed it audio, and then it'll move the voice. And the reason I used AI to generate the avatar is because Peter J. Carroll doesn't do interviews, and he doesn't like his image portrayed. But by the way, he absolutely loved his avatar. He's just like, this is perfect. So he's like, can I post it on my website and can I put it on a blog? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So Peter J. Carroll loved it. For people who know who Peter J. Carroll is, he basically invented chaos magic, just so you know, with the help of like Austin Osman Spar, who he's inspired by, and all that good stuff. There's no spoon. I'm rolling with Boner Dice. Good to see you. Always the fantastic name. Okay, so Lux E Tenebris 33 says, I was unaware of the question asked as I just arrived. Excuse me. Oh, no worries. Like this is a good crowd, good positive vibe. And by the way, I apologize to you, Lux, because this is the first time I think I'm seeing you, that I haven't gotten started yet. I'm just trying to get through the comments that are here already. But so Fast Mojo says, I use AI for UFO hunting with a camera. I've seen your Python script. Missing time 420. Yeah, I don't know how to program in Python. I want to understand it better. Okay. All right. Let's get started. All right. The 72 demons of the Goetia, an overview. The Ars Goetia is the first section of the Lesser Keys of Solomon, a 17th century grimoire, and it is one of the most famous texts in Western occultism. It purports to catalog the 72 spirits that King Solomon, the legendary Old Testament king famed for wisdom, allegedly summoned and bound. These spirits are described not as mindless demons, but as individual intelligences with distinct names, ranks, sigils, appearances, and powers. According to the lore, Solomon used his magical seal, the Seal of Solomon, to command spirits that had been rebellious. Tradition holds that he forced them to build the Temple of Jerusalem and eventually sealed them in a brass vessel to contain them forever. This legend passed through medieval Jewish, Arabic, and Christian occultism, culminating in the Renaissance compilers of the Lesser Key. By the 17th century, ceremonial magicians believed that by following Solomon's methods, invoking divine names, inscribing symbols, and performing the conjurations, they too could compel these spirits to appear and grant knowledge or favors. The Goetia is essentially a grimoire of practical ritual. It lays out the spiritual hierarchy, symbols, and conjurations needed to evoke each spirit. Each demon's entry gives its name, rank, for instance, king, duke, prince, marquis, count, earl, president, knight, the number of legions it commands, and describes, or in a description of its iconography and appearance, and its powers or the functions it performs. Often abilities like teaching sciences, granting love, finding treasure, causing storms, etc. These spirits collectively represent a map of human ambitions and fears, from knowledge and wealth to love, warfare, and even dark secrets. The Ars Goetia serves as both myth and ritual manual. Practitioners saw these entities as agents that could provide hidden wisdom or material benefit if properly summoned and bound by the magician's will. Today, the Ars Goetia is studied as a classic occult text. Occult historians view it as a syncretic cultural artifact, mixing Jewish lore, medieval demonology, and Renaissance magic. Many contemporary practitioners regard Goetic spirits symbolically or psychologically, as aspects of the psyche rather than literal beings. In popular media and fiction, the 72 names often appear as characters or monsters. For example, Paimon became widely known through film and games, though typically with creative license. For instance, the video game Diablo features a demon called Baal, or Baal, loosely based on Baal. In short, the Goetia remains influential. It shaped later grimoires and still fascinates occultists, historians, and artists alike. All right, let's talk a little about demonic hierarchy. The Goetic spirits are organized into an infernal hierarchy that mirrors medieval noble ranks. In the Ars Goetia, there are 9 kings, which are the most powerful, each commanding many legions. There's 23 dukes, which are high-ranking nobles of hell. There's 7 princes, often associated with the planet Jupiter. There are 15 marquises tied to the moon in traditional correspondences. There are 14 counts or earls, usually associated with Mars or mixed titles. There are 3 presidents linked to Mercury's sphere. In some lists, a few presidents overlap with earls or other ranks. And then there's 1 knight, a singular officer under Saturn. In total, these sum to 72 distinct spirits. Some spirits hold dual titles, e.g., Zagan is listed as king and president. Bodis is president and earl. Vine is both king and earl. Each spirit is said to govern a number of legions of lesser demons, typically dozens of legions. In older texts, the ranks also correspond to the classical planets: kings to the sun, princes to Jupiter, dukes to Venus, marquises to the moon, counts, earls to Mars, presidents to Mercury, and the lone knight to Saturn. This astrological scheme reflects the Renaissance and medieval worldview, tying celestial and spiritual hierarchies together. Thus, summoning a king of Goetia was considered a very major achievement, whereas a president or duke was a lesser office. In practice, however, any Goetic spirit could be invoked if the magician had the proper rituals. All right, so let's talk about summoning rituals and framework. The Ars Goetia not only lists names, but provides detailed rituals for evocation. The magician must be prepared, often with fasting, purity of intent, consecrated vestments, anointing, etc., and a special consecrated space is set up. Central to the ritual is the magic circle, a large circle traditionally about 9 feet across, inscribed with divine names, Hebrew god names such as Yahweh, I am, and Tetragrammaton, YHYWH, angels' names and symbols, to protect the operator. The magician stands inside the circle and is safe from harm. In front, outside the circle, is drawn the triangle of art, a small triangular platform pointing toward the spirit's cardinal direction. This triangle is where the summoned spirit must appear. The conjurer usually wears a special magical ring or talisman, often called seal or ring of Solomon, and other tools, incense in the censer, anointing oil, holy water, a wand, etc., to assert control. To call forth the spirit, the magician intones formal conjurations. These typically invoke the supreme God using names like Adonai, Elohim, Yahweh, Jehovah, Agla, etc., and employ phrases of command. For example, a typical conjuration reads, "Appear before me here, O spirit, O," and then spirit name, "in this place, in a fair and comely shape without any deformity, by the ineffable name, Tetragrammaton, Jehovah, do I command thee." Divine names and commands establish the magician's authority. The operator will also recite the spirit's own seal or sigil and use the written bonds and charms, special curses that bind the spirit to obey. The ritual demands that the conjurer stand firm on the circle's center. If the spirit appears too fierce, the magician may demand it calm itself, sometimes by retreating fully into the protective triangle. If the spirit hesitates or resists, the conjurer repeats the binding names and curses until the spirit yields obeisance or obedience and enters the triangle. Once the spirit is present in the triangle, the magician may question it or command it to perform tasks. Etiquette is important. The conjurer must remain respectful yet authoritative. If the spirit fulfills the operator's requests, such as teaching arts, revealing secrets, or granting favors, and the conjurer desires it to depart, the operator recites a license to depart, ending the ritual. If at any point the spirit resists or becomes malicious, the conjurer is instructed to force it back using the greater curse, or again invoking divine authority. Finally, a banishing ritual, often the Malegaton's spirit's chain, or a pentagram banishing, is performed to clear any remaining influence. The Ars Goetia thus provides a ceremonial framework, an elaborate circle, triangle, ritual, words, and prayers. For instance, one conjuration passage in the book commands, "Make a triangle and then command the spirit into it by the bonds and charges of spirits, as hereafter followeth. If he doth not enter, rehearse the bonds and charms, and then he will yield obedience." Another example uses the name Tetragrammaton to compel the spirit. "Come forthwith and appear before the circle by this ineffable name, Tetragrammaton, Jehovah, do I command thee." These formulas emphasize that the evocation is done in the name of God to force the spirit's cooperation. In short, goetic summoning is a highly structured act. The magician binds himself in God's protection, calls the demon by name with divine authority, and demands the spirit's service. Okay, so let's go to the 72 goetic spirits. We're going to go kind of through each spirit in the Ars Goetia. We'll talk about the names and a rank, followed by a concise description of appearance and powers. Now, these are short descriptions, but there's 72 of them, so buckle up. It might be a little while. Not too long, though. This is a lot shorter than what I had last week. First, there's Baal. He's a king. He's got 66 legions. Often called the first king of hell, Baal appears with 3 heads, a toad, a man, and a cat. He speaks with a rough voice. Baal is said to grant invisibility, or the art of invisibility, and wisdom in natural things. He can also bestow mastery over the animal kingdom and dream shifting. Well, that's weird, given the discussion that we just had. That would be the first entry. Then there's Paimon. He's, again, a king, 200 legions. He's pictured as a crowned man riding a dromedary cattle with a host of music playing spirits before him. He has a very powerful voice and roars upon appearing. Paimon teaches all arts, philosophy, and sciences, and reveals hidden secrets of earth, wind, and water. He grants dignitaries, titles, or offices, and knowledge according to the conjurer's desire. Beleth, king, 85 legions. Beleth is depicted as a terrifiant king. I never heard that word before. Somebody can look that one up. Riding a pale horse with trumpet-playing musicians in attendance. Beleth is known primarily as a love spell demon. He brings intense passion or love between a man and woman. The conjurer must confront him calmly, often with a magical triangle as instructed, to gain his favor. Beleth can command love until the desire is fulfilled. Porsan, king, 22 legions. Appears as a man with the head of a lion, riding upon a bear, and holding a trumpet and a serpent. Porsan knows all hidden things. He can tell past, present, and future, both secret, earthly, and divine matters. He answers questions truthfully. Porsan finds hidden treasures and familiars. He may reveal lost riches and the secrets of the world. Asmodee, often also known as Asmodeus, king, 72 legions. Has 3 heads, bull, man, and ram, on one body with a serpent tail, webbed feet, and flame-spewing mouth. Asmodee teaches the arts of arithmetic, geometry, astronomy, and all handicrafts. He gives the conjurer a ring of virtues, sometimes understood as special magical items, true answers to questions, and can show treasure locations. He also strengthens the supplicant's inner will or strength, useful for initiation rites. Then there's Vine, king, 36 legions. Vine appears as a great lion riding a black horse, holding a poisonous serpent. Vine can discover hidden things. He reveals witches, wizards, hidden things past and future. He can also build towers or cause great storms, turbulent winds and rough waters, and overthrow obstacles. Balaam, king, 40 legions. Shown with 3 heads as well, first of a bull, second of a man, third of a ram, with a serpent's tail and flaming eyes. He rides a fierce bear while carrying a goshawk. Balaam answers truthfully on all matters of past, present, and future, even mystical creation secrets. He is also said to endow people with wit or cunning. Zagan, king and president, 33 legions. Appears as a bull with the wings of a griffin. Zagan can transform things. For example, he changes wine into water or vice versa, and even blood into wine in some accounts. He bestows wit and wisdom, making people clever. As king and also listed as president, he can bring simple meaning to initiatory work and help the magician understand hidden concepts. Belial, king, 50 legions. Belial appears as a handsome angel riding in a chariot of fire. Belial is called the Lord of the Earth. He grants favors, power, offices, and senatorships, or high ranks. He is adept at political and worldly influence, bestowing honor and status. Belial causes friends and foes alike to favor the conjurer. Now moving on to the dukes of Goetia. Agares, duke, 31 legions, appears as an old man riding on a crocodile with a hawk on his fist. He is associated with language and communications. He speeds up one's understanding of languages and helps in negotiations or job promotions. Agares can also cause earthquakes or storms to occur as signs of his power, sometimes to mold the course of events. However, if disrespected, he may harm the offender. Valifor, duke, 10 legions, usually depicted as a lion with the head of a donkey. Valifor is known as a somewhat vampiric spirit associated with the night and instinctual power. He initiates the magician into dream or astral states and can protect the bedroom while the magician sleeps, warding off intruders or psychic attacks. Some sources also say Valifor encourages thieves, but in Goetia, his primary function is protective astral travel. Barbatos, Count, Earl, 30 legions. Barbatos often appears with 4 kings and their troops. Barbatos knows the past and future. He can reveal buried treasures or secret things laid by magicians, including hidden books or grimoires. He fosters friendly relations. He reconciles friends and lovers who have quarreled and can influence leaders to act amicably. Gushan, Duke, 40 legions. Appears as a strange creature with a blue head. Xenopilus head. Gujian is the demon of divination and understanding. He tells the conjurer everything, events that have passed, what is happening now, and what will come to pass. He resolves doubts and shows the meaning of confusing matters. Gujian also grants honors and dignities to people. Elagos, Duke, 60 legions. Depicted as a handsome knight carrying a lance, ensign or flag, and a snake. Elagos discovers hidden or secret things, especially those related to war and battles. He knows the outcomes of conflicts and the fates of armies. In addition, he can cause people to fall in love with one another. He is invoked for help in strategic matters, conflicts, or romantic schemes. Zapar, Duke, 26 legions, appears as a soldier in red armor. Zapar is a love demon who makes a person irresistible to the opposite sex. He causes women to fall passionately in love with men, though he is also infamous for causing sterility in women. In short, Zapar's powers are centered on attraction and desire, useful for matters of love and relationships. Bathine, Duke, 30 legions. By the way, I don't know if I'm pronouncing any of these right, so I'm kind of freestyling on that. Appears as a strong, muscular man with the tail of a serpent, riding a pale horse or sometimes donkey. Bathine teaches the virtues of herbs and precious stones. He's a nature spirit who knows the healing and magical properties of plants and minerals. He also grants power of astral travel. He can cause the magician to instantly travel through space or visit distant lands in spirit form. Salos, Duke, 30 legions. Appears as a handsome, gallant soldier riding a crocodile, wearing a ducal crown. Salos causes love and lust between men and women and men. He is often invoked to attract affection or to reconcile romantic differences. Essentially, Salos works in the realm of emotions and marriage, fostering passion and unity. And then there's Murmur, Duke, 30 legions. He appears as a duke or count riding a mighty griffin with trumpets sounding around him. Murmur is deeply associated with necromancy. He teaches philosophy perfectly and has the power to summon the souls of the dead to answer questions. In other words, Murmur can bring ghosts before the magician so that the secrets of the afterlife can be learned. He also imparts knowledge of divine mysteries. Vapar, Duke, 29 legions, noted as she by some sources, but treated as male by others. Vapar appears as a mermaid or a crowned woman with a tail. He or she governs the waters. He or she can cause storms at sea, drown men, or poison waters. If summoned, he or she can guide ships, reveal treasure in the sea, or cause watery afflictions. Vapar can also cause putrefying wounds and is sometimes invoked in matters of disease. In other words, he can cause rotting wounds and not wounds that turn to stone, which is the first thing that I said that made no sense. Cressel, Duke, 48 legions. Appears as an angel, sometimes a watery angel. Cressel reveals hidden knowledge. He teaches geometry and liberal sciences, and he has power over water, making water flow, causing storms at sea, etc. In some accounts, he is depicted stirring the ocean with huge brushes. Fjorkis, Knight, 20 legions, the sole knight of Goetia. He appears as an old, cruel-looking man with a long beard, riding a pale horse and holding a sharp sword. Despite his fearsome form, Fjorkis is a teacher. He instructs the magician in philosophy, astrology, rhetoric, logic, palmistry, or chiromancy, and pyromancy, divination by fire. He imparts wisdom in many fields. Now we move on to the princes of the Goetia. Vasago, prince, 26 legions, appears as a man with a large bulbous head. Vasago is a good-natured prince who can see past, present, and future events. He reveals hidden or lost things, like lost treasure, people, or secrets. He is often consulted for discoveries and for truthful revelations. Citri, prince, 60 legions, appears as a leopard-headed man with griffin's wings, but he can also change into the form of a beautiful woman. Citri inflames lust and desire. He causes men to fall madly in love with women and vice versa. His power is to reveal secret passions and to kindle romance or illicit love affairs. Ipas, prince, 36 legions, appears as an angel with the head of a lion, goose feet, and a hare's tail. Ipas knows all things that have passed and will come to pass. He grants wit, boldness, and courage to humans. This makes him useful for enhancing confidence and self-reliance in the conjurer. Astaroth. This is basically when you hear the Ashtar command. This is really what they're talking about. It's really probably Astaroth. So Astaroth, prince, 40 legions, appears as a male figure riding upon an infernal dragon with pale skin and eyes like black pits. Astaroth is a powerful demon who knows all secret things. He tells of the fall of the angels and the rebel spirits and teaches liberal sciences. He reveals hidden truths and can explain human psychology, often in a coldly analytical way. In some traditions, he is linked to Tarot or Kabbalah symbolism. Stolas, prince, 26 legions, appears as a raven, often with the head of an owl and sometimes as a man. Stolas is a teacher of the stars and nature. He instructs in astronomy and the virtues of herbs and precious stones. Magicians seek him to learn astrology and natural lore. Phoenix, prince, 20 legions, appears as a brilliant golden phoenix, the mythical firebird that speaks with a child's voice. Phoenix or phoenix, it's spelled different than phoenix, just so you all know, is a gentle spirit. He sings beautifully and teaches all the sciences. He is known to make marvelous music as a bird. He will do the conjurer's bidding joyfully, especially if treated kindly. Orobas, prince, 20 legions, initially appears as a fine horse, then changes into a man. Orobas is a trustworthy prince. He truthfully reveals all things past, present, and future. He grants dignitaries and the favor of friends and foes alike, and gives true answers about God and the universe. He is also a protector. Orobas will not deceive the magician and will protect the conjurer from evil spirits. Marquises or marquesses of Goetia. Samangina or Gamagen, Marquis, 30 legions, appears as a small horse or donkey, which turns into a man at the magician's bidding. Gamagen teaches liberal arts and sciences. He can summon the souls of those who have died in sin and bring them back to the conjurer, effectively answering the magician's questions about the dead. Marbas, Marquis, President, 36 legions, appears as a great lion that can change into a man upon request. Marbas is associated with both healing and disease. He can answer questions about hidden or secret matters and is used for cursing or curing illnesses. He knows the workings of all mechanical arts and natural processes, very knowledgeable in mechanics and nature. All right, the next marquis is Valifor, which we already discussed under dukes. Ammon, Marquis, 40 legions, appears as a wolf with a serpent's tail that spews flames. Sometimes he may have a raven's head, or simply appear as a man with wolf's teeth. Amun knows the past and future and can reconcile friends and adversaries. He can provoke arguments or disputes and then help resolve them amicably. Barbatos. We already discussed Barbatos as he's listed under dukes. Laraje. It's Laraje let's call it Laraje. It's Leraje. Laraje. Marquis, 30 legions. Appears as an archer clad in green with bow and quiver. Laraje causes wounds to become festering. If one is wounded in battle, his touch can make the wound fester. He is invoked for victory in conflicts and achieving goals. He also strengthens friendships and can make a person respected or feared. All right, we've already discussed the next four under dukes. They're marquis, but they're also dukes. So Elagos, Sabhar, Bathine, Salos. And then Porsan was listed under kings. So he's also a marquis, apparently. Marax or Morax, marquis, president, 30 legions. Appears as a bull with the face of a man. Marax teaches astrology and other liberal sciences. He is extremely wise and knows the virtues of all herbs and stones. He can also answer questions about hidden treasures. All right, we have Ipos, who's listed under princes, but did we even? Yeah, we talked about Ipos. And then there's Im or Habarim, a marquis and duke with 26 legions. Appears as a man with 3 heads, a serpent, a man, and a calf, riding a serpent and carrying a torch. Im is a fiery spirit. He sets cities on fire and causes great conflagrations. He grants cunning or wit and tells truth about secret matters. Magicians invoke him for knowledge of private things and to cause incendiary events. Nabirius, marquis, 19 legions. Appears as a black crane fluttering around the conjurer, speaking hoarsely. Nabirius restores lost honors and dignities. He teaches arts and sciences, especially rhetoric and public speaking. He can also assist in negotiations and eloquence. Ranave, marquis, 19 legions, appears as a kind of monster, often described as a beastly creature. He teaches the art of rhetoric and languages, and he provides favors from friends or enemies to the conjurer. Berith or Berioth, duke, marquis, 26 legions. Appears as a soldier dressed in red, riding a red horse, and wearing a golden crown. Berith answers truly on matters past, present, and future. He's associated with the metallurgical art, sometimes said to know about hidden metals. He can also bring visions and dreams for insight, and he aids in self-understanding and strengthening one's will. All right, we already discussed the next marquis, who is Astaroth, as he was listed under princes. Forniax, marquis, 26 legions, appears as a great sea monster. Fornius teaches the arts of rhetoric and languages, knowledge of tongues. He can give a good reputation to the conjurer, making the person beloved by friends and respected by enemies. Forus or Forcus, president, 29 legions, appears as a strong, commanding man. Forus teaches logic and ethics, and he grants understanding of the virtues of rocks and herbs. He also reveals hidden treasures and lost objects. He is invoked for self-improvement, especially virtues, wisdom, and cunning. Asmodee or Asmodeus was also listed under kings. Gap is a prince with 66 legions. Appears standing before 4 kings. Gap teaches philosophy and liberal sciences. He has the power to incite love or hatred between people and can consecrate things with magical rituals. Gap answers truly on any subject, past, present, or future. Forfer Marquis, Earl, 26 legions. Appears as a stag or deer with a fiery tail. Furfur causes love and passion between a man and woman. He raises storms, thunder, and lightning at sea, and answers questions truthfully about secret and divine matters if compelled. However, he can also be unpredictable or destructive if not handled properly. Marchosius, Marquis, 30 legions. Appears as a winged wolf or ox with griffin's wings, serpent's tail, and emitting fire. Later, he may assume human form. Marchosias teaches initiatory matters like astral projection, shape-shifting, lycanthropy, basically, and combat skills. He helps in overcoming obstacles, fights, and personal courage. The next two were covered under princes, and that's Stolas and Phoenix. What do you want to call that? Halfas or Malthus is a marquis earl with 26 legions. Appears as a stock dove with a hoarse voice. Halfas builds and fortifies towers, castles, and defenses around the magician, filling them with armed spirits. He essentially provides protective strongholds. He is also known to provide weapons and soldiers in vision for battle preparations. Malthus, president, 40 legions. Appears as a crow, then changes into a man, speaking in a harsh voice. Malthus builds houses and large structures for the conjurer, gathers knowledge of enemies, intentions, and actions. He can reveal conspiracies and plans. However, he is cunning and may test the magician by deceiving him if the magician is not careful. Raum, Marquis Earl, 30 legions. Appears as a crow, then as a man. Raum steals treasures from kings and transports them to where the magician desires. He destroys cities and reputations of dignitaries. He tells of past, present, and future things and can induce love between friends and foes. Focalor, Duke, 30 legions. Appears as a human with griffin's wings. Focalor controls the winds and seas. He can kill men, especially by drowning, and sink ships with storms, though if commanded not to do harm, he will obey the magician. Sabnock or Salos. We kind of discussed this before, but Marquis, 50 legions. Appears as a soldier with a lion's head riding a pale horse. Sabnock builds high towers, castles, and cities filled with armaments, aiding in defense or siege. He can also afflict men with festering wounds and putrefying sores as a curse. Shax, Marquis, 30 legions. Appears as a stock dove or wearing a dove's clothes. Shax steals the sight, hearing, or understanding of anyone. He can take money from the houses of kings and deliver horses on request. He also uncovers hidden things and riches when needed. Bifrons, Marquis and Earl, 6 legions. Appears as a hideous monster, then turns into a man. Bifrons teaches astrology, geometry, and other mathematical arts. He reveals the virtues of precious stones and woods. He is often used in necromantic practices. Some grimoires pair him with death-evoking rites. Yuval Voval is a duke, 37 legions. Appears as a strong man riding on a dolphin or dromedary. Some say he first appears as a serpent, then man. He speaks Egyptian imperfectly. Yuval procures love between a man and a woman and also reconciles friends and foes. He truthfully tells things past, present, and future. Hyacinthe, president, 33 legions. Appears as a bull with griffin's wings, then as a man. Hyacinthe teaches wisdom and transforms substances. He famously turns water into wine. He gives understanding of complex esoteric or initiatory concepts, making them easy to grasp. Okay, the next two we already discussed, which were Crocell and Forcus, who were listed under dukes. Balaam was listed under kings. Alosis Duke, 36 legions, appears as a young soldier riding a great horse. Alosis teaches astronomy and the liberal sciences. He can also cause paranoia or fear among his enemies. Cameo or Chaim, president, 30 legions. Appears first as a thrush or songbird, and then as a man with a sword. He grants understanding of the voices of birds and waters. He answers truly about future events. Chaim is often classed with presidents and counts. And then under dukes, we discussed murmur. Under princes, we discussed oribus. Gromori or Gomori, duke, 26 legions. Appears as a beautiful woman wearing a duchess's crown, riding a camel. She tells of things past, present, and future. She knows the location of hidden treasures and brings love from women, both young and old. Ose, president, 30 legions. Appears as a leopard, then as a man. Ose gives knowledge of liberal sciences and secret things. He can change a person's shape, especially in dreams, to anything the magician desires. Amy or Avnus, president, 36 legions. Appears as a fire or pillar of flame, then as a man. Amy teaches astrology and all the liberal sciences. He finds things hidden by spirits, hidden documents or items. Orius or Oryx, Marquis, 30 legions. Appears with the face of a lion riding a splendid horse with serpent's tail, holding 2 large serpents. He teaches the virtue of the stars, astrology, how to identify planetary influences, mansions of the planets, and knowledge of dignitaries and prelacies, which are political honors. I guess like prelates. Vapula or Nafula, duke, 36 legions. Appears as a lion with griffin's wings. Vapula's office is to teach philosophy, mechanics, and craftsmanship. He makes men knowledgeable in handicrafts, arts, and sciences. We discussed Zagan, again under kings. Then there's Volak or Volak, president, 38 legions. Appears as a small boy with angel's wings, riding a 2-headed dragon. He answers questions about hidden treasures and serpents. Some say he points out where serpent-related things are hidden. He can also bring treasure to the conjurer easily. Andras, Marquis, 30 legions. Appears as an angel or man with the head of a raven or owl, riding a winged wolf, and wearing a bloody sword or wielding a bloody sword. He defends the conjurer's enemies or causes discord. He sows discord and slaughter in battle. He also teaches bestial knowledge like instincts or shape-shifting. Hyacinthe, we discussed above. Androphilus, Marquis, 30 legions, appears as a peacock or peacock-like man. He teaches geometry and astronomy, making the student extremely subtle in mathematics and measuring. Samais or Samajas, Marquis, 20 legions, appears as a soldier on a handsome black horse. He rules the spirits of Africa. Samais teaches grammar, logic, and rhetoric perfectly. He also reveals lost or hidden treasure. Amdusius, duke, 29 legions, appears as a unicorn with a shining horn, then as a man. Music follows him, instruments play by themselves. He causes the boughs of trees to bend and inclines the spirits of nature. He can produce natural music and connect the magician with the spirits of nature. Belial, we already discussed him under kings. Dakarabia, Marquis, 30 legions. Appears as a pentagram, shining star, then as a man. He teaches the virtues of birds and precious stones. Dakarabia can make all kinds of birds fly in orderly flock around the magician, singing and drinking as if natural. Seer, prince, 26 legions. Appears as a beautiful man riding a winged horse. Seer brings abundance and wealth. He carries anything the magician wishes at incredible speed. He provides truthful information about thefts, hidden treasures, and every kind of theft. He is good natured and willing to serve the conjurer's desires. Dantalion, Duke, 36 legions. Appears as a man with many hundreds of faces, both male and female, holding a book. Dantalion teaches all arts and sciences perfectly. He knows the thoughts and secrets of every person. He can change minds and influence emotions. He can also cause visions to induce love or ideas in someone's heart. Andromalius, Marquis Earl, 36 legions. Appears as a man holding a large serpent in his hand. He returns stolen goods or apprehends thieves at the conjurer's command. He discovers all wickedness and underhanded dealings, punishes evildoers, and reveals hidden treasures. In short, he enforces honesty and justice by exposing and punishing criminals. Each of the above entries is drawn from the descriptions in the Ars Goetia. The powers are often broad, such as teaching, revealing secrets, bestowing wealth or love, etc. And the iconography is specific. Animal heads, combinations of creatures, regal attire. These descriptions match the traditional grimoires and the Mather's Crowley Goetia. Now let's talk about some modern interpretations and cultural appearances. Today, the Goetic demons appear in various ways beyond ceremonial magic. Occult scholars often interpret the Goetia psychologically. Each demon represents an archetype or facet of the human mind. For example, Aleister Crowley suggested that evoking Goetic spirits might mean invoking parts of one's own subconscious. Contemporary practitioners in traditions like Thelema or chaos magic may work with these spirits as if they were symbolic entities or psychological forces rather than literal devils. Some modern writers view the Ars Goetia as a window into Renaissance magical thinking rather than a factual demon inventory. In popular culture, Goetic names have been used in countless fantasy and horror contexts. Many video games, novels, and films borrow Goetic names or concepts. For example, the demon Paimon, a Goetic king, was featured in the horror movie Hereditary in 2018 as a powerful spirit. In the Diablo video game series, one of the prime evils is named Baal, akin to Baal, king of Goetia. The Shin Megami Tensei and Persona games include many Goetic demons' names as characters or summons. Tabletop role-playing games and card games like Magic the Gathering sometimes reference Goetic lore. Even modern occult music and fiction often reference these spirits. However, these popular uses are usually fictional or loose adaptations. The grimoires themselves are rarely cited in detail outside occult circles. Instead, Goetic names serve as evocative symbols, kings and dukes of hell in horror stories, or powerful card-battling demons in games. While some practitioners still attempt the traditional evocations, many others engage with the Goetia conceptually or artistically, treating the 72 spirits as a source of mythology, symbolism, or personal insight. In this way, the Ars Goetia's legend or legacy endures, even as its literal practice has become uncommon. As one commenter notes, historians see the Goetia as a cultural artifact. Occultists see the demons as inner archetypes, and popular culture portrays them as monsters or characters in entertainment media. And that's all there is, folks. I told you it was short because I cannot do another 2 straight hours of just trying to race through a script. Notice how I could just read through that slowly at a reasonable pace. But the good news is I have a gigantic ton of comments here. So let me just throw that down there just before I forget it. And let's see where I left off, and I need to get something to drink. Okay. And then I never say this. Usually someone from the audience prompts me to say it, but don't forget to like and subscribe if you're still listening to this. Appreciate you and all that good stuff. All right. So Oracle of Relphi said, that is so huge, the fact that you designed an image Peter J. Carroll has chosen to use for himself. Well, I kind of had designed it, and then I asked him, like, what if I were to design something, what would he prefer? And he said, oh, something like Gandalf, the wizard. And I'm like, how's this look? And I showed it to him, and he's just like, oh, it's great. And then I sent him the episode, and he just loved it. So I'm super, super happy about that. Yeah, where is Gray Owl? Yeah, he's late. He's late again. Okay, so Fast Mama Jama says, I never stopped working on UFO hunting with AI. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so Woo Riders DG said, Sean, I took a random photo the other day of a military cargo plane here in Northeast Florida. And in the photo, in the trees, when you zoom in, you can see a classic gray alien face, clear as day. Holy crap. Can you, like, email me that, and can I share it on this site? Just let me know. Just let me know what if you want to do that, just let me know in the comments, and I can put my email down there. Okay, so Missing Time 420. I've been following your channel for a bit. Fast. Thank you. Okay, so Fantasy Publishing said, if it is Legend, it also can be a story told along campfires. Okay, so Rue Rider Jesus says, yes, I posted photo. Where'd you post it? Or just put like a link in your comment. If it, who knows if YouTube will let it though. Good Lord. Okay, that is advanced. Okay, Fast Mama Gemma said, I was looking at owls as pets. They seem pretty. Can you actually get an owl as a pet? Lux E Tenebrious or Tenebrous 33. It says, anyone else here have experience with the Goetia? No, but do tell. Please do tell. And by the way, if you want a link, if you have a pretty compelling story, and want to tell it, I'll just let me know. Well, I'm trying to think how I would. Yeah, just put your email address in the comments, and I'll send you a link, and you can come on and tell the story. But I'd definitely be interested to hear any experiences people have had. So Missing Time 420 says, I want to summon a falcon to my arm. Definitely awesome. All right, here. Okay, so Fantasy Publishing saying, here we deal with astrology and quantum entanglement, natural synthetic intelligence. Okay, so Lux is saying, my mentor has been given plaques from an order about HID. Work with it. Say more. I mean, it sounds fascinating. Well, you have to understand energy can use atoms to create objects. 100%. That's the double slit experiment, sort of. And those can create manifestations. Okay, Oracle of Relphi. Whoa, this is telling you exactly how to do the conjuring. By you reciting it, oh God, don't say that, please. It is now activated. Please don't say that, because I am not protected. All right, so Lux is saying, some say the spirits, demons are aspects of the mind. Others claim they literally exist, perhaps as thought forms or beings in actuality of another realm that interpenetrates this one. Interesting. Very interesting. Roger Claiborne is saying, I got a Seal of Solomon pendant with all the protective glyphs scribed on it. Got it from a thrift store bag of jewelry. Interesting. Fantasy Publishing is saying, just as having an old building, then creating a story that is attached to the building or an object in the building can create a focal point for one's energetic focus. like a specific crystal or witch's eye. Lux E. Tenebris is saying it should be taught by an initiate of ritual. The book is enough. Always close what you open. Okay, so the unseen Steve McQueen is saying no binding. So Mark Fry is saying see UFO Chronicles podcast episode 252 is a story from 1993. What topic? Same topic, Mark Fry? Yep, we got for Phoenix and Rom. You have to align the triangle correctly, same as any. Phoenix Publishing saying. Geometric ritual that ties into quantum entanglement with natural synthetic intelligence. Symbol and geometry can be as keys, Lux says. Understand that conjuring depends upon the belief and the description of the entity. That's for sure. I'm reading Dr. Dean Radin's book called The Science of Magic, and belief is like the first component that he talks about. So the unseen Steve McQueen is saying oxymoronic. Not in a good way either. Lux says glyphs of ancient origin. And what do you expect from human imaginations? These demon lists are like K-pop wikis. Okay. All right. Like the Chaos Magician from previous shows said, you can create your own rituals and symbols. It's your subconscious that brings it forth, Roger Claiborne says. Fantasy Publishing says these are also included in Christian Bible and the story of Jesus. This is why they're considered embellished, created via humans. Some of them are just deities that have been renamed, maybe all of them, Sirius says. Now Roger is correct, Fantasy Publishing says. All of these forms are allegoric. Okay, so Oracle of Relphi says tetragrammaton is an equilateral triangle made up of tetrates, or tetractes. It is one circle on the first row, monad, 2 on the second, duality, 3 on the third, harmony, and 4 on the fourth, manifestation. Fantasy Publishing says each demon has a form that has bigger meanings. Tim Beck says Dr. Steven Skinner knows some interesting experiences. Yeah, I've reached out to him, but he hasn't responded. I would love to interview him. The unseen Steve McQueen says forms don't exist. Plato was the OG troll. Fantasy Publishing says, well, it is like the Tesseract. Try to align it to north, south, east, and west. Okay, the unseen Steve McQueen says they had to make useless rabbit holes out of something before the internet. Fantasy Publishing says, actually, no Tesseract is also a quantum construct. Tim Beck says, perhaps forms are existential internal projections from within to better understand complexity. External phenomena is the result, ? Fantasy Publishing says, now, do we actually believe in these stories as part of actual allegory to extraterrestrial contact possible? Cryptids. Sirius says Astarte, maybe Astaroth, I don't know. Tim Beck says metaphors and allegory as a means, art. Roger Claiborne says, as a lark, I announced to my sister and brother-in-law who lived with me that I was going to believe in UFOs and try to manifest them. That night, a bright light and humming was over our house. That's weird. Roger Claiborne says, by the time we got outside to look, it was gone, but neighbor from down the street ran up excitingly claiming it was a UFO. Flying saucer, to be exact. Coincidence? Yeah, probably not. Oracle of Relphi is saying voices and other sound waves can travel through bone conduction. Okay, so Roger Claiborne is saying after that they were seeing UFOs all over Gulf Breeze. Holy shit. Gulf Breeze, Florida, and we even made the news. Rumor was one was recovered, crashed in shrimper net, and a Navy ship came in at that time and supposedly retrieved it. Tim Beck says sound frequency, in my limited understanding, is all. Roger Claiborne is saying, I mean, shrimper got a crashed one caught in its shrimping nets. Tim Beck says daemons as muses and asuras as divas, as Asgard as egregores. Okay. Sirius says now we do tarot. Ten of Cups, Queen of Cups, and Three of Swords. Roger Claiborne says, yep, underwater metal detectors using bone conducting headphones underwater. So a beam of something vibrating ear bone should make you hear voices, Oracle. Okay, Oracle of Relphi says we have beams going every which way forevermore. A Flubber Lane. Okay, Tim Beck is saying Siemens Company has some of that tech, not good. W-band wireless body area network. Roger Claiborne says XP Deus 2 metal detector sells them with their diving units. They work great. Tim Beck says intention and application, like all things ROG. Mark Fry says I pulled an owl out of a car radiator and it sunk its claws in deep in my fingers. Yeah, those claws are not like, have you ever seen a great horned owl's claws? And I would claw, I mean, they're talons. I mean, they're scary. So Nixie is saying, so Sean, have you practiced divination, invocations, been abducted, had missing time, or an intense experience with the phenomenon? If so, do you think what do you think it is? I've never had any conscious memory of anything like that. Everything that happens to me involves one of three phenomena: strange animal behavior, precognition, and synchronicities. So at the very beginning of this broadcast, I talked about like today, just seeing a orange tabby cat with a rat in its mouth. Like when I looked outside, it just kind of plodded by, or what's the word for it? Sauntered by, not sauntered, trotted by. And the instant I looked at the time, it was 3:33. So things like that happen all the time. I talked about the gray fox experience I had, where there was a gray fox like looking me in the eyes 3 feet from me. And then, of course, you've seen the countdown video where you see the owl on the fence. I didn't take that from stock footage. I recorded that personally. That owl was on my fence, and I walked up to it and took that video, and it didn't fly away. So just weird stuff like that. So Nick C is also saying, I've also had tons of weird, unexplainable experiences. If you have an email, I'll send you a list on see what you think, being in multiple situations with what I think are different type beings. I'll just put my Through a Glass Darkly email. Just give me a second. Hold on. You should be able to reach me there. Okay. And it's a lot of dreams and visions and stuff, etc. Okay, so Nick C is saying belief and intent are so important for sure. What books are you reading? I missed that. I have so many. I'm looking like beyond my screen. So the teachings of Don Juan, a Yankee or a Yaqui way of knowledge. That's Carlos Castaneda. I mean, I'm like like not even close to halfway through it. The Science of Magic by Dean Radin. I'm like halfway through Liber Null and Psychonaut from Peter J. Carroll. The Book of the Sacred Magic of Abramelin, the Mage. I barely started that. I'm like mostly through the first book of Sinister Forces. I'm also reading The Secret Doctrine by H.P. Blavatsky. Where else? I'm almost completely done Penetration. I'm just like reading the appendices, basically. The Complete Secret Cipher of the Euphonauts by Alan Greenfield. Sorry, I don't know. Like I read all these books and like I can't move that. Let's see. Yeah, that's most of them. That's most of them. And then I just bought a bunch of new ones. So which I haven't even started. I have so many books and so little time. So I got this just recently, the Necronomicon, which has a really weird story. It's written by Peter Levenda, basically, but they found it, and I don't know if they I don't. I forget the story. It's a really strange story. And then maybe I shouldn't, but I interviewed Adam Butler. I have his DMT field guide. Hopefully that doesn't get this thing like demonetized because I just mentioned it. And then I have Mark Stavish's Egregores. I just haven't had a chance. I literally just got it. So, and I have a bunch of other random books that I have not had a chance to read. Sorry for the. Okay, just going through this. Okay, so Roger Claiborne is saying raptor talons are sharper than razors. I rescued a red-tailed hawk once, and its talons pierced to my arm bone like they were butter. Yikes. So Solite US Expat is, if it isn't too outrageously high, it might be a very great investment to boost your subscribers by having Dan Aykroyd on your show. If you send me his contact information, I'll take a shot. But you know how those guys are. They have like, agents, and the agents are like, oh, you got to deal with a bunch of Hollywood people who are just, it's not worth it. It's like you lose a tiny bit of your soul every time you interact with them. Yep, no problem, Nixie. A pleasure. You just showed it in here? Are you talking about Dan Aykroyd's? Email address? I did not see it. I will send him an email. I don't care. I don't think he'll respond, but I got nothing to lose. Yeah, it didn't show up. Why is it not showing? Here it is again. It doesn't, I don't see it. Through this URL. Okay, yeah, just email it to me because I don't see it in the comments for whatever reason. And I'm putting your comments on the screen. That's like what you see on the screen is what I see on my end. Yeah, I think so too. I just didn't say it out loud. You did, which is fine. I think we get each other. Yeah, if he says yes, absolutely. Yeah, YouTube likes doing that kind of stuff. Spiderbite, good to see you. You're late, according to Gray Owl, but Gray Owl is not here, so Gray Owl is late, so it's fine. Oh, it's fine. Gray Owl cares, but Gray Owl, you're gonna have to bust his balls if he ever shows up, because Gray Owl's a no-show tonight. And it might be the second no-show in a while. I don't know what's going on with Gray Owl. So, but he's the one who cares about whether or not you're on time or you're late. I'm just glad you keep coming back. I don't know why. It's as AJ on Wi-Fi said this is not a professional operation, especially since I don't even have a team, and he's got like a team. He's got like his wife helping out and like a bunch of like higher people and stuff like that. By the way, are people watching this Sean Ryan Dan Crenshaw feud? That's pretty weird stuff. Pretty weird. By the way, I'm definitely on Team Sean Ryan on that one. Like, how do you become a multimillionaire if you're working Congress and make 175K a year and have to maintain two households? I You ain't getting there unless you engage in insider trading, which perversely is legal for Congress and illegal for the rest of us. Thank you, Oracle Rofi. Yeah, I know. I invest a lot. I mean, time wise, I definitely have. There's an FAQ on that page. Interesting. Okay. CIA. Chris Miner. Yeah, could be. I don't think Sean Ryan works directly for the CIA, but I think he may. I don't know. Who knows? He may have had an algorithmic boost because he's the stories of it. Like, if they wanted to control him, I'm not saying that they control him, but if they wanted to control him, they have levers to control him. I.e., like he's freely admitted that he's like engaged in basically narco trafficking in South America. And if the U.S. government wanted to, I'm sure they have all sorts of dirt on him and could put him in prison at any time if they wanted. And that's what would give them a lever. I do believe him though when he says that he wants the truth and he wants to do the right thing. And I don't think the CIA is like they try to influence him, but I don't think they've come out and used that lever yet. But it's much more difficult to get to that level if they don't have something on you. So we'll see. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Oh, I mean, like he actually charges people to appear. I mean, that's like, yeah, you don't pay people to, like, that's just not. Oh, I see. So Tim Beck says, I suspect it's kayfabe drama myself. Legitimate beefs, but dollars, grift, simulacra. Maybe. Yes, Chris Miner official. I think you hit the nail on the head. There's probably influence that he wouldn't really even know is occurring. Yeah, I think that's how 100%. So like I don't think he is like wittingly working for the CIA. I believe he's an honest, sincere person, but I think he's maybe they probably surround him with people who are. Huh. So Mark Fry is saying, listen to UFO Chronicles podcast episode 252. It is about speaking in dream states and telepathy and stuff. Okay, I'll have to check it out. Yep. Tim Beck says we all want the truth, bro. Okay, so Roger Claiborne said you missed all the useful info on how to summon demons in their proper names. Spider Bite, don't be late for class again. Yeah. By the way, don't do any of this stuff at home. Just please don't. I don't want to have that on my conscience. Um, just do the right thing. Always operate on the side of truth. Be loyal to your friends and family, and try to do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Right, the golden rule. Yes, he did on camera and said seriously. So yes, so Soulite US expat. I said I didn't know that Dan Crenshaw threatened to unalive Tucker. He's on camera. Like, all right. So Tim Beck says everything is compentalized. Dude. have a code. That's right. Spider Bite. Your apology is accepted, Spider Bite. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, a sitting congressman said that. Like, I mean, that's treading on dangerous ground. So he has a history of threatening people. And then same thing with Sean Ryan. He just said that like my boys in SEAL Team 6, which is like I wouldn't say is the most dangerous special ops unit in the world, but it's certainly the second most. Delta is the most dangerous. It's, I mean, no contest. But anyway, I mean, DevGru is close, but Delta's the Crenshaw shirt vid. Yep. I wish I could say the name of your. I wish I could say your handle, but I can't. I can't. I'll get thrown off of YouTube forever. But yeah, he said my boys in SEAL Team 6 or my boys in 6. He didn't even say SEAL Team, which is well known. But oh my god. I'm not condoning that, people. It is a very creative name. Let's just say. Okay, so Wu Riders DG, 2 USA soldiers and an interpreter unalived by ISIS member in Syria. What will be retaliation, Sean? I did not know that happened. I mean, it'll be quiet. They'll find out who did it, and those people will be unalived. That's pretty simple. And it'll be pretty precision. You won't hear about it in the news, but so Tim Beck, military can straighten things out the way of the world. Yeah, that's basically what's going to happen. Wow, it's only 30. Yeah, you gotta get that. Those are rookie numbers. We got to get those numbers up. So keep hitting the like button, please. So Nick Z said, and if he said my boys in 6, like that seems like an odd threat if he didn't have it at his disposal, unless he's just one of the guys that flexes with nothing. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if he was just like some civilian after he had served in SEAL Team 6, that's fine. But when you're a sitting congressman and you say, like, my boys in 6, like that actually has some weight. So how do I can never say that name, but every time I see it, I shouldn't laugh. It's so like I can imagine if some like far left progressive got here, they would be so offended and just they would hyperventilate by that name. All right, how do you get all your guests? Some of them are really high. I just email them. Swear to God, I just email them, and I just say, and then I use the hot girlfriend technique, right? So like, some guys will be like, "Oh, is she hot? I don't know," and then they'll if they start to date her, then other women will think that guy's attractive, right? Like, it's just like weird stuff like that. So if you just say, hey, I've interviewed this person, this person, this person, would you like to be on the show, it becomes easier the more that you're able to say that. And then there's some people like Georgiani, like they're like smart, and I'm not saying this to be arrogant, but higher IQ people watch this channel, which is a blessing and a curse. So like the comments aren't dumb. Like you'll see like when vetted, profiled, or tried to make fun of one of the live streams that I had with Scott Roeder. And what happened with that is like I could see in real time the collective IQ in the comments descend from like 125 to 80 in real time. So there's definitely a lot more high IQ people watching this channel. And I'm talking like they're professors at the University of Chicago. Like if you reach out to some people in the community, they know who I am. And I'm shocked but the that's the blessing. The curse, though, is you look at a normal distribution, right? And you look at, say, people with over 140 IQs, that's like 2.5% of the population, right? So as a result, there's not a lot of subscribers. So, so that's kind of how. So, like, smarter people know about this channel. So it's a little easier because they know that I'm not going to be like, remember that UFO that you saw in 1975? And somebody be like, yeah, I remember. That was awesome, right? Huh? Did they give you a rectal probe? Like I just that's not my style. Anyway, I lost my place now. The moment I start talking about IQ, oh yeah, so yes. How do I get on my yeah, that's how I get them. Okay. Solite US expat says, do you have any new guests lined up for 2026? Any heavy hitters? I have 2 guests on the calendar right now, I think. Yes. One of them you probably never heard of, and the other one is Dean Radin. So I have got nobody on the calendar yet, and I'm front loading something else right now. I'm doing all like my publisher interviews. I just got one out of the way today. I got another on Monday, and then I have to schedule a third before the end of the year, and then I got to get back to the channel. But yeah, I'm a little bit far ahead. I'm only done up to December. So okay, so Tim Beck is saying hard time believing YouTube confab though. What do you mean by confab? I'm not challenging it. I just don't know what you mean. I'm curious. Tested 136. Nice. See, there's an example. McDr. Glock. Right? That's very close to genius IQ right there. And that's just like one data point. IQ matters as slow as I go, Tim Beck says. I can't be tested. I'd bust the meter on a spider bite. Opinions on dark journals. He dances around certain issues, but drops a lot of good info. I've actually thought about interviewing him. I just don't. I don't watch him as much as I should. But he seems like he would be in the same kind of thought space as I would. But of course, YouTube doesn't recommend him to me. Of course, right? Of course, YouTube would not recommend him to me. So I never see him. So I need to probably deliberately watch him, but I've thought about asking him to come on. I always keep forgetting. What does the audience think? Do you think he'd be a good guest? And do you think he would say yes? That's probably the more important part. So Solite US Expat. What about the debate between Giorgiani and Gillis? I hope you make that happen. Maybe even make it live. If I did it, I would make it live. I don't know if it's a debate though. I don't want those two like fighting. I'd rather have like a simpatico something. But yeah, I think Gillis would do it. I just haven't asked Giorgiani because I don't know what the format would be. It would just be it would be interesting, but I don't like I want to have some positive energy to it. So I need to think a little bit more about it. I haven't asked Giorgiani. And my sense is that Nathaniel would say yes. It doesn't mean he would say yes, but I think he might. So Woo Riders DG, Brown University incident today. Manhunt continues. Prayers for all the victims. What happened at Brown University? I'm working all the time, so I never see this stuff. Like even though I should. Yeah. See, here's another one. Sally Forth alone. Mine's like 120th. Not that high, but still higher than most people, which is scary. Yeah, the average IQ is like 100 or 98, something like that. It used to be 100, but yeah, but this is another example, right? That's more than a standard deviation above the mean, I think. So Spiderbite says Giorgiani likes to elaborate his stories a bit like the fisherman's stories. So Tim Beck says Tavistock set the standard for programming and influencing public opinion. Old news. So Joseph Gomes saying, that's funny, Sean, because I've been watching your show for a long time and I have no idea who you are. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Um, I don't know. Say more, and I can respond in a intelligent way. Let's see. Tested 60. No, you didn't, Woo Riders DG. If you had an IQ of 62, you would be a gibbering. You wouldn't be able to write. Okay, so like US, I think it is a good idea for Dark Journalist to be on. Now, do you think he would come on? Jesus, 2 dead, 8 wounded. That's horrible. And that's just like my son just came back from college for winter break today. So like it was literally the end of probably finals at Brown right now. Okay, so Tim Beck is saying confab is controlled opposition. The release valve priming misdirection of thoughts and opinions. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, another one. I hate saying like another one, but like I told you, you're all pretty. You're most of you are extremely intelligent. So Nick Z said mine's 129, tested 10 or 15 years ago, though. Not sure what it'd be now. Watch it go down from all the nonsense in the world. I'd like to think it went up. I just got my graduate this September. Well, congratulations. But yeah, another 129. Smart. So like US expat, I did one of those online IQ tests. Not sure how accurate they are. I think it was like 120 or more. Yeah, who knows? So Joseph Gomez is saying what I think is scary as hell is that most people in America may be more intelligent than the current president. I mean, I think most. I wouldn't say most people in America, but I would say that a huge percentage of the population is much more intelligent than the average politician. LQ. Spiderbite is saying if you practice those online IQ tests, you would ace them. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'll reach out to. I need to watch more of his episodes to get a better vibe of him. I IQ is another one of Yakub's magic tricks. Mensa has a good test. Yeah, that's true. Take Mensa's test. To see if you have it. Roger Claiborne saying mine's over 300. I'm not going to say you're not telling the truth, but like the highest IQ in the world, I think is like 288 or something. It's like a Korean guy. So Woo Riders DG, being around y'all high IQ people got me feeling some type of way anyway. KM. Yeah. Fast Mama Jama, 80 and below can't operate machinery and not allowed in the army. Probably. Okay, so McDr. Glock is saying the problem is that there are different aspects of IQ. I thought mine was math, but it turns out it's politics and religion. Yeah, there's also there's different forms of intelligence for sure. I thought it's like grammaton, tetragrammaton. I think you spelled that. That doesn't ring right, Tim. So Gemini 13 has 160 IQ. Who's Gemini 3? I am with the smart. No, you're not wicked smart. You're not wicked smart. Oops. Yeah, tetragrammaton. Okay. Tetragrammaton. Get it right, people. The ego runs deep in chat tonight. That's fine. I'm very impressed that the audience is as smart as it is. So Solat US Expat is saying, I will try out that Mensa test to see what it says about my IQ. Spiderbite, you're definitely well over 80. You're well over 100. I've operated heaps of machinery in it. Yeah, you're well over 80. Oh, Google AI Gemini. Really? But it still hates white people. So is it really that smart? Intentional bud, lame show. Yeah, I have like in the last month or so. Steve Mera. Yeah, I just had one air in like no like late November. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Steve Mera. Waiting for someone to say they are Cleopatra ring. Aren't we all? Aren't we all? Yeah, the time flew by. It's like 8:43 my time. That's pretty quick. How are we doing on likes and subscribes? Or likes. Sorry, you guys can't tell subscribes. But uh yeah, at that point people probably started unsubscribing or some nonsense. Yeah, let me take a look. Let's take a look. How are we doing this fine evening? Um yeah, also YouTube didn't like one of my recent episodes. So I think one of them was shadow banned a little bit. It just it's weird how these things work. I guess we're doing okay. Doing okay. Not phenomenal, but okay. Let's see how we're doing on likes. It's hard for me to tell. I see like, oh, someone gave me a dislike. Boo hoo on that one. 35 likes, one dislike. Yeah, that's one thing I don't do to YouTube channel. Like if I don't like something, I just bounce. Like there's no use in just negative energy like that, you know? But hey, you're not gonna make everybody happy all the time. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so endlessitudes recently discovered your channel. Love your stuff. Hey, thank you, endlessitudes, I guess. 2029. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's been a long time running. So Spider Bite saying it's the reincarnated mermaids you need to watch out for. My feet are a cross between Alexander the Great and Cleopatra's. Does that count? Yes, Roger. That counts. I wonder what is going on with Dr. Steven Schwartz's remote viewing book. Does he have one coming out? That would be interesting. Oh, for Christ's sake. Okay. Where are we? All right. Desi just put up the Christmas tree as you were reading comments. Took 5 minutes total, 7-footer. I'll say the manufacturer made it easy to install. Very impressed. Interesting. Very cool. Which one? I think you mean which tree. I have Roman shaped feet with a little bit of Egyptian, Roger Claiborne says. Spider Bite says, I haven't decided whether to put my tree up. Of course, you're going to put your tree up this year. Come on. Of all the theories from your guests, which one do you personally subscribe to? I think Dean Radin. I think Dean Radin's got it right. Because he's done the math, he's done the econometrics and statistical analysis to prove that psi/magic, all that good stuff, is real. Which episodes got shadow banned? So the one I did with Adam Butler, the first one on, I'm not going to say it, but hopefully I can't read it, on this subject, is the first interview I've had in like a year that had less than 1,000 views. It was totally shadow banned. And then a more recent one was Richard Geldrich, who always gets really good views, got under 1,000. Like that's not him. Like somebody is kind of the stuff he says people who powers that be don't want that stuff out there. Oh yeah, well, Gillis is not what Gillis says is not necessarily incongruent with what Dean Radin says. Dean Radin is just less specific and is more scientific. Etudes, music studies. Nice. Oh, Barry Gamble says, Sean, get Fraud or Eleftheria back on again. Yeah, I should reach out and see how he's doing. Bet that singular dislike was somebody on the left side of the bell curve. It always is, Sally. It always is. A musical studies, nice. I don't try to be political, but I'm political enough to discourage the banshees from setting fire to the YouTube channel. It's just like, without going right or left, anything that's kind of anti-human, like anti-human ideologies, and like race-based ideologies that judge people on the color of their skin rather than the content of their character, like, you can all fuck yourself. Like, it's not how things work. You judge individual humans by content of the character. So my wife's my that account, which I can't say, the account which cannot be named without me getting banned from YouTube, says, my wife's boyfriend lets me watch your live streams every Friday, Saturday night when he comes over after. Jesus. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Okay. For the Goetia and the demons. Oh yeah, that would be a pretty cool episode. Interview Grandmaster. Who's Grandmaster Wolf? I know you keep asking for John Vivanco from Metaphysical. He's done many remote viewing projects. It would be really interesting. But I wrote one of my first papers on that book in college when it first came out on the bell curve. Wait, Dean Radin loves which guy? Oh, who is Grandmaster Wolf? We're getting onto some dark stuff lately, huh? Yeah. The days are getting shorter, so I'm getting darker. I mean, everything's literally getting darker. Ashland Christmas Noel Band. 7.5 feet. Oh, that's the Christmas tree. On sale, $255. Okay, but what is Dean Radin's opinion about abductions and that whole phenomenon? I've never asked him. Maybe I will. I mean, I'll talk to him on the 20th. So, Woo, you just unfolded your tree, light decos and all. Hey, this is the first one I've seen UFO intros. It just says good shit. I appreciate that, UFO intros. Welcome. Woo Riders this year. Yes, I'll take a photo and post it now. Nice. Greetings, Emerther aliens. Greetings. Greetings, Earthlings. Anyway, by the way, that's one of the best covers on The Economist of all time, where there's a picture of Kim Jong-il, the father of Kim Jong-un, and it just has him like waving like this, and the cover says, Greetings, Earthlings. It's fantastic. Anyway. Okay, so Spider Bite 1, he's Australian, Grandmaster Monk, he can move things with his mind. Was a teen in Tibet when Chinese came through. Interesting. So, what's his name? It's Grandmaster Wolf? Grandmaster Wolf. Just posted photo on my channel. Nice. Speaking of Rich Geldrich, hold on. See, he just texted me. Huh. He's just texting me something about the Aurora, Texas UFO crash in 1897. He's like looking at old stuff. All right. Dean Radin has worked with him because he is so good. What about interviewing guys that runs the Area 52 YouTube channel? Maybe, but he's not really an experiencer. He's just kind of like another UFO personality. Maybe if not guys, I mean the guy. Yeah, I know you're talking about. He seems like a good dude. Why does it say radio? Because this is on the radio right now. So yeah, for people just joining, this is a live stream, but I do this live stream on United Public Radio 105.5. I think it's like 107.7 in New Orleans. So this is piping out on the radio right now in New Orleans. I'm serious. it's ridiculous. I don't make any extra money for doing it. I just get wider reach. So like last week, for instance, I had, I think, something on the order of 994,000 listeners. So I haven't cracked 1 million quite yet, but I might do it today. But yeah, it's called radio because this is literally on the radio. I stream on my YouTube channel, but it's also on the radio. So Rewriter DG, Sean, did you ask for anything special this Christmas? No, just time off. So time off so I can do more work for this channel and try to get ahead. Because I have two novels that I want to release. I just have to like clean them up and generate the covers and get that out there. So yeah. So Mark Fry, yeah, says, oh, I get it. Hello, New Orleans. Yes. Hello, New Orleans. Spider Bite says hi from Australia. So, and Lassitudes 2029, that's pretty cool. Radio clout. Yes, but apparently I can curse-ish a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are, so I try not to. So Nixie is saying, what's up, New Orleans? We should give them shout-outs. I had no idea. Yeah. So the handle, which cannot be named, says recently, apparently, Gillis and Mira are preparing to release images of sigils and skin anomalies. Yes. All right. So Mark Fry says, I never listen to radio anymore, actually. Yeah, no worries. Grandmaster Flash. Yes, we could interview him too. The handle that cannot be named says, I think my wife's boyfriend is from New Orleans. Oh my God. All right. So Mark Fry, check out Old Time Radio, like New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Also Bob Bailey is Johnny Dollar. That's Woo Riders DG. Tim Beck is saying, my cynical opinion approach, Sean, I suspect pop, UFO, UAP are contained. Just my thoughts. Perhaps. So Spiderbite says, Sean, say, hello, New Orleans. Get ready to rumble. I didn't do a great job. I have to practice things like that. But anyway, makes sense. He's a vampire. Yes, I never sleep. I'm constantly. Ever see that scene from Conan the Barbarian where he's like, they just get the little kid and they put him on the wheel, like the grinding mill, and they're just like, and he's just like, yeah, the wheel of pain. That's me. I'm on that wheel. Anyway. The wheel of pain. All right. We got 3 minutes. We're going to pack into the next 3 minutes. All right. So I have lots to follow up. I got to see if Dan Aykroyd will appear on my 20,000 subscriber channel. Come on, guys. I'll try. Let's see. Yeah, Gray Owl's totally fine. He's been like peppering me with messages and all sort of stuff constantly, so he's fine. Although I do listen to the classical music channel, but not so. Yeah, see, again, high IQ person. What low IQ person listens to classical music? And by the way, if you like classical music, you probably like heavy metal as well, because they're very similar patterns. And high IQ people tend to like both. Not all, but many. So again, so Mark Fry is saying, although I do listen to the classical music channel, but so much commercial and fundraising sort of taints it. Yes, that is true. But I like classical music from time. I don't like actively listen to it, but when it comes on, like there's some good stuff, right? Like Beethoven is awesome. I'm trying to think of some other. I'm like terrible with this stuff, but I'll recognize it. I just Mozart, like the what's like Midnight Sonata. I can't. I'm like an idiot with it. I'm brutish when it comes to this stuff. So Spider Bite is saying, "Great job, Sean. Send your Al over to check on Gray Al." Uh yeah, about that. I'm probably I have to get this done this week, but I'm probably going to have a live stream, like out of season live stream next week to talk about manifestation. And it will have a surprise. There will be some promotional aspect to it. I'm not going to lie about that. And then there's going to be some experiments too with manifestation, right? So I'm going to have a live stream called Thoughts Create Things. And there's an owl related thing with it. And also there will be some ways for you to actively exercise manifestation. But you have to pay money for that part of it. But you'll see. We'll get to it because it has to come out before Christmas for obvious commercial reasons. But it's going to be an interesting live stream. There'll be things for everybody, let's say. But there will be a promotional aspect because, again, I like the truth and I don't like the bullshit people. But it's going to be a little bit of everything for everybody. Let's see. You don't want the tree of woe, bro. You'll be buffed by Crom. Yeah, the tree of woe. Yeah, exactly. The wheel of torment, except you get fatter as the year. Oh my god, that would be disaster. Yep, that's the one guy who always calls me when I'm on a live stream. Like literally, every time I live stream, phone call. I love classical music once in a while. Yeah, anyway. We'll get back to that soon. I do love classical. It helps me focus. Yeah, it's very soothing, for sure. Intelligent people like rock and roll. Not sure about that, though. Yeah, rock and roll is great, too. Spiritual Ascension says. Schubert. I think there's something by, is it Schubert or Schubert? Probably Schubert. Most modern music is Goislop. Oh my god. I grew up listening to brass bands. My dad played cornet and trombone. Very nice. Okay, I'm interested. This will be interesting. I can't wait to see this live show of manifestation. Now we're gonna do a live experiment and just see. Like, we're not gonna know if it's gonna work for a little bit, but oh yeah, we're definitely going there. We're definitely going there. So classical music helps people study better, according to studies. I used to do it while at UCF. Yeah, I think that's accurate. All right, we're like 2 minutes over. So I just want to say, have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for spending time on this channel. By the way, you like my new chair? My wife just makes fun of me and says looks like I have a 14-year-old chair. But I invested the proceeds of this wonderful channel to get a better chair and better office lights, which you don't see here, but they're just so much better. So I am investing in the channel because this looks, it's got the nice blue color of the channel, right? So, it looks good. It looks, maybe I do look a 14-year-old. But good night, everyone. Thank you so much and have a fantastic rest of the week. And I will see you next week. So God bless. Godspeed.